Good day, everyone. My name is Busiso. My name is Budu. I'm a student at UP doing honors in computer integrated education. Today, guys, we are going to do large scale assessments. But before we get into large scale assessment, I think it is imperative of me to first do a background overview of what large scale assessment entails. So basically, when we talk of large scale assessment, we talk of assessment. But what is assessment? Assessment are tools that are used to evaluate the learner knowledge. You can even say assessments are tools that are used to measure the amount or the level of knowledge the learners have acquired while they were taught. Now, teaching, learning, and assessment are intertwined. You cannot do one successfully with other without using the other tool. So basically, if you teach learners, you need to assess the learners so as to establish whether learning did occur. If we move further down, when we talk of assessment, there are three fundamental types of assessment. We've got pre-assessment, we've got formative assessment, and then we've got summative assessment. When we talk of pre-assessment, we talk of assessments that are conducted or administered before the new information is given or is taught to the learners. Basically, it is an assessment that seeks to establish the existing knowledge that the learners have so as to plan and tailor your lesson according to the level or the knowledge the learners have. And then the second one is formative assessment. Formative assessment are those assessments which are administered during the instruction time. While you are teaching, you assess your learners so as to establish whether your learners, you and your learners are in the same boat. And also, formative assessment is also used, let me rather say, formative assessment also assist in learner-directed education. So basically, learning is not only done through the teacher, where the learning is educator or teacher orientated. The learners do take center stage for their learning. And then we've got the third one, which is summative assessment. Summative assessments are assessments that are conducted at the end of a period, of an academic period, so as to see if learners have acquired enough or the required skills and knowledge to proceed to the next level. And then within summative assessment, we also learn that summative assessment can be conducted across a large number of schools, even countries or regions. Now, that type of assessment is then known as the large-scale assessment. That is how large-scale assessments came about. Now, what is large-scale assessment? Large-scale assessment, according to George Frempong, excuse my pronunciation, states that evaluation of learners occurs at a various level of education system. That is what large scale assessment is, and also large scale assessment is conducted or rather administered at an international, regional or national level. Also, a large-scale assessment is a standardized assessment tool administered to a large group of students across a number of schools and nations to group, to gauge to gauge the overall learning outcomes and also to influence policymakers. The other objective of large scale assessments, it is also to be able to reflect on the evolving global education system. Now, when we talk of large scale assessments, there are programs which are used to administer these large scale assessments. For an example, at international level, that is between countries, we've got a program called PISA. In full, PISA is an abbreviation for Program for International Students. This program now is conducted by Organization for Economic Cooperations and Development, and aims at assessing 15-year-olds' reading ability, mathematics, science, literacy, and in a cycle of 3 years. So basically, this PISA is administered by this OECD agency or group, but it is aimed at assessing 15-year-olds to check their reading ability, to check their mathematics skills, as well as to establish literacy in a 3-year term, in a 3-year cycle. So it happens each and every after 3 years. That is the first one. And then the second one is trends in international mathematics and science, TIMSS in short. TIMSS is administered on grade 4 and grade 8 learners and assesses mathematics and and sciences, knowledge and skills. This assessment is administered by International Energy Agency, that is IEA. The third one is Progress in International Reading Literacy Study, PEARLS in short. This assessment is carefully constructed reading assessment consisting of a test of the reading literacy of 4th grade students and questionnaires to collect information pertaining to 4th grade students' reading literacy evaluation. PEARLS, they also focus on 3 aspects of reading literacy. They focus on the purpose of reading, they focus on the process of comprehension, and as well as student reading behavior and attitudes. Now, those are the large assessment programs that we use, and South Africa does subscribe to PEARLS. It is also a part of the countries that participate or are that participate in the PEARLS program. South Africa is not doing very well in that one. And then we've got national assessments, which are also regarded as a large-scale assessments. We've got ANA, which is annual national assessment. This assessment is administered by the Department of Basic Education, and this assessment is administered or is aimed at assessing language and mathematics in grade 1 to grade 9. Unfortunately, this assessment has now been paused in South Africa. The reasons are known to us. And then we've got also an assessment program, which is systemic evaluation. Systemic evaluation is administered, I am quite sure that it is administered in the Western Cape. This system or large scale assessment program is aimed at establishing the level of understanding of language and mathematics for grade 3, 6, and 9. It is administered yearly on the 3rd term, and the assessments comprises of the work that were done from term 1, term 2 up until term 3. And systemic evaluation is also CAPS aligned, as well as ANA, the above. Then the value of large assessment in South African education environment. Large-scale assessment is valuable in the sense that they encourage accountability and system improvement, informing instructional and curriculum. They also benchmarking and comparative analysis, promoting equity and access, and guiding educational policy. Then if you go down, you will see I have elaborated on accountability and system improvement, how exactly that is done. I went on and also elaborated on informing instruction and curriculum, benchmarking and comparative. Then value of large scale assessment in my own educational context. In my own educational context, the value of large-scale assessment does not really impact or yield the desired outcomes based on a variety of factors. Because on my educational context is I'm an educator in a deep rural areas of the Eastern Cape, where information is very hard to receive. We don't get information of this nature. We only hear about internet connectivity. There is no the infusion of ICT into teaching and learning. Those are things we hear about it, but it is not things that are done. So basically, it does not really relate to the situation of the schools like the school that I'm working in. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.